So as I'm recording this, MetaConnect 2023 is wrapping up, where they introduced the new Quest 3. Wasn't a surprise to anyone. Let's talk about it. Welcome everyone to another edition of Get Your Game On, the channel dedicated to immersive gaming experiences. Now, just to be fair, I want everybody to understand right up front, I am not a fan of Meta. In fact, a few years ago I did a pretty epic rant, I'll post it up here, where you got to see my salty side. My feelings haven't really changed much on that, but that being said, the new Quest 3 that just came out looks like it might be the perfect combination of features and the perfect headset for just about everyone out there. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's be honest. The early days of VR, we got to try it, threw the headset on. It was amazing, but it wasn't quite the experience that I think we imagined. You know, we had low-resolution screens. We had Fresnel lenses that gave off God rays and glare. So it wasn't quite that immersive, real-world experience that you kind of envisioned it would be before you'd ever tried it. Well, I think with the Quest 3, we are finally to the point where we have a headset now that's going to be affordable for a lot of people, and it's going to give that high-end fidelity that you kind of envisioned VR was going to be when it first came out. So I really didn't feel like we had, you know, that real-world experience until I had originally tried the Varjo AERO. That was the first time I put a headset on and went, okay, now this is kind of like looking at a monitor, only I'm in this world. And, you know, obviously the Crystal, the same kind of thing. But now with the pancake lenses that are in the Quest 3, I think this experience is going to be accessible to a whole lot more people. And I'm so excited for people to finally get to try a headset where you can look around in the lenses and it stays clear versus having to look straight and move your head around to see things clearly. So the more people that get to try that, I'm just excited to hear everybody, because I heard the same thing with the Quest Pro when it came out. There were all kinds of people just like talking about how amazing the experience was. I think you're going to see a lot of people having that experience for themselves, and you're going to hear a lot of good things about the Quest 3 when it comes out. For the beginners, the setup on this headset is probably going to be the easiest setup that we've ever seen in a VR headset. Essentially, with that depth sensor in the Quest 3, you're going to look around the room, it's going to map out the space, you're going to be done. Because that's always been one of the challenging things, I think, for newcomers to VR, is the setup process and the software installation. All of that stuff can be a little overwhelming for someone new. Well, I think this Quest 3 is going to be like the easiest, simplest, closest to plug-and-play solution for VR that we've seen yet in the industry. So I'm very excited about that. Now, for the intermediate or the enthusiast level VR headset, well, we've got a nice form factor, so it's nowhere near the big screen VR yet, but it's kind of a good mix. It's not quite as bulky, obviously, as the Pimax Crystal, but it's definitely slimmed down quite a bit from even the Quest 2. So I think that form factor is going to be a nice addition. They've given us an IPD adjustment. Instead of the 3 in the Quest 2, there's actually a manual slider now, or a dial, so you get to do your IPD properly. They've got some ability to adjust the eye box, so you can, if you're wearing glasses, you can bump it out or move it back. So there's a lot of really nice features in this headset that I think are going to appeal to even the VR veterans out there. So, and again, with those visuals, the edge-to-edge clarity and the great pancake lenses, I think it's going to be a real treat. So the excitement is real. The Quest 2 really set the stage. It really got a lot of people interested in VR that probably hadn't been that interested previously, and I think this Quest 3 is going to do the same. Now, they're touting the mixed reality side of things. I'm still not a believer in mixed reality. I think it's a neat gimmick. I think it's something people are going to think is really cool, being able to sit in your room and, basically blow out a wall with a blaster and have a different world behind it. But I think that's going to wear off very quickly. I've always thought that mixed reality for gaming isn't really something that I think is going to catch on. I think it's going to be more of a fad. In fact, watching the demo, I kind of laughed to myself because they had the Stranger Things demo where you're sitting in your room and then all of a sudden the Stranger Things world comes into your room through the walls, and then you walk through and you go into the Stranger World in VR. So realistically, it's more of a demo of mixed reality, but once you get into it, you're really immersed in VR from what I understood from watching the videos and stuff like that. The other really cool thing, obviously, for those of you that are already in the Oculus/Quest ecosystem, it looks like all your games are going to transfer over, so that's really a cool thing. That's a nice feature. I'm a little worried about that on a different level, though, because if you're going to still make all the games backwards compatible for the Quest 2, that means you're not going to be pushing that new XR, Snapdragon version 2 chipset to its fullest. So I think you're leaving a little performance on the table to make things backwards compatible with the Quest 2. But we'll see how it plays out. That might be a non-issue. We'll see. So I just wanted to share with you, I basically said I would never support Meta, and I really didn't plan to. I've never bought a Meta headset. I have used the Quest 2, but I've never actually even given Meta a dime of my money, I don't think, in the past. However, I got to thinking about it, and I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about the Quest 3, and you guys have been so generous. You guys have been doing such a great job. You guys are using my links not only for either the Varjo AERO or the Pimax Crystal, but also, for the Apache head straps, for the prescription lenses, and a lot of you guys are even using my Amazon affiliate links when you go to buy something. You're just clicking on a link so that I get a little bit of an affiliate kickback from Amazon. All those revenue streams combined have given me enough that I think I can afford to purchase the new Quest 3, and that way I'll actually get it here, I'll be able to use it, and I'll be able to give you my opinions of it. Because it's not fair, because of my personal opinions about Meta, some of you may not have that, so it's not fair of me to hold that back just because of that. So I'm going to reinvest some of this money that you guys have been generous enough through using the affiliate links to go ahead and get a Quest 3, and I'll use it, and I'll give you my honest opinion as unbiased as I possibly can, as always. And, so definitely make sure you like and subscribe if you don't want to miss on that. So what I would tell you, since pre-orders are out, and if you're interested in pre-ordering this thing before I get my review done, I want to make a note. So there's two models. There's a 128 gigabyte model, and then there is I think it's a 512 gigabyte model. If you're planning to do any standalone in this thing, in other words, you're planning on not running it through a computer, you're planning on running everything through the headset itself, make sure, or I highly, highly recommend you spend that extra money and get that 512 version. Because the problem is, as big and as complex as games are getting, and they're going to continue to just get bigger and bigger, that 128 gigabyte version it's going to hold maybe a game, possibly two, but not much. So you're going to find yourself constantly, basically deleting games and putting them in. Now, that's a perfect headset if you're planning on just doing, PC VR through it. If you're not planning on installing anything for the standalone, go ahead. By all means, I think that cheaper version will be the right fit for you. But if you're going to do any standalone, again, for that extra $150, you're getting 4 times the memory. I would say that's a good investment. So that's my 2 cents on that. So I'll be looking to get that headset in. Once I do, I'll spend some time in it before I post a review, because I like to, basically spend some time and kind of work everything out. But once I kind of get a good opinion of it, get a good feel for it, I'm actually kind of excited because I've never owned a Quest headset. So I'm excited to see how it compares to these high-end headsets like the Varjo AERO, like the Pimax Crystal. See what you're missing out on, if you're missing out on anything. I can tell you right now, you're missing out on the eye tracking, which if you're doing any kind of high-end simulation, that dynamic foveated rendering is a real performance boost. So if you're planning on doing sims, I still don't know that this is the right answer, but for pretty much everyone else, I think this Quest 3 may be the headset that we've been waiting for quite a while. So time will tell. I will let you know as soon as I get one in and start using it. And until then, remember to get your game on.